Our story begins in an underground fighting arena where a man, renowned as the Oni Slayer, faces off against a formidable creature. The audience is filled with cheers and bets as they watch the brutal match unfold. With remarkable ease, the Oni Slayer defeats the creature, once again emerging as the victor. As the announcer declares his victory, he leaves the ring. In the bathhouse, he meets his sir, and they chat about the creature he just conquered, a Shokara. During their conversation, a peculiar woman with an elongated neck spits in the Oni Slayer's direction, which incites Sir's anger. He scolds her and instructs her to hurry off to the stage for her performance. The Oni Slayer, however, continues on his way to a room downstairs, where he removes the bandages from his hands and begins to drink. After finishing his drink, he gazes at the empty bottle and suddenly senses someone's presence behind him. He swiftly turns around, but there's no one there. In the next scene, we find our hero strolling through a bustling marketplace. A group of curious kids follows him, but when he stops and turns to them with an eerie smile, they scramble away in fear. He makes a stop at a shop to purchase alcohol, and the shop owner suggests that he should see a doctor instead, alluding to a possible viral disease linked to the markings on his body. This triggers a painful memory of his past when he was held captive and subjected to experiments and torture by an elderly man. While on his way, he overhears a commotion, where a strange creature called an Ayakashi is causing chaos. Someone yells for help, and he witnesses a group of people trying to harm a unique cat. When they spot the Oni Slayer, they demand that he kills the cat because he is known as the Oni Slayer. He insists that it's just a cat, but a child argues that they've never seen such a cat before. The Oni Slayer approaches the agitated cat and playfully flicks its nose, causing the cat to attack him and then flee. He apologizes to the people, explaining that as an Oni Slayer, he can't harm a harmless cat. In response, the people mock him and walk away. That night takes an unexpected turn as fate compels the Oni Slayer to face a cat-like creature with two tails in the arena. As the battle unfolds, a mysterious onlooker observes him from the crowd. After the fight, this enigmatic woman checks the Oni Slayer's room but finds it empty. As she exits, the Oni Slayer approaches her, attempting to grab a birdcage she holds. However, she stops him and dives away, drawing a gun and aiming it at him, sparking a tense standoff. Quickly, he pours beer into the gun barrel, forcing her to engage in a melee fight. Eventually, he overpowers her, and she is restrained. A voice intervenes, urging the Oni Slayer to forgive the intrusion, attributing it to his attempt to touch the birdcage. The voice advises him to be cautious in the future. He retorted, "Are you apologizing or just giving orders?" She responded, "Can you only kill when you're on stage?" The shocking remark left him stunned, and he inquired about her identity. She cryptically confessed, "I'm rather fond of you," though her lips remained still. Stepping back, she warned him that continued victories would lead to his untimely demise. In a surprising revelation, she disclosed that he was a hybrid, part Oni, and part human. Oni, she explained, possessed the power to slay any known monster, and his Oni side would ultimately consume him, resulting in his death. Baffled, he asked, "Who are you?" She replied that she had come to strike a deal with him, claiming she could extend his lifespan. As she approached him with this proposition, a gust of wind revealed the inside of a birdcage, exposing a human head that stared at him. The sudden sight startled him, and the severed head implored him to end her existence. But before that, she introduced herself as Aya Rindo, with her silent maid, Shizuku Heisei. Intrigued by her presence, he questioned whether she was an immortal. She confirmed her immortality, and he confessed that he had imagined immortals as frail and reclusive figures, like hermits. Aya explained that her immortality didn't allow her to age, and she had remained 14 years old for centuries, with the current year being 1897. Puzzled, he inquired why only her head remained, and Aya revealed that around 6 months ago, someone had stolen the rest of her body. This was perplexing to him, as he had heard that immortals could regenerate their entire bodies when lost. Aya clarified that immortals were vulnerable to one specific force, the Oni, which could negate a creature's regenerative abilities. If an immortal was a hybrid mixed with other living beings, their regenerative powers would be halved, resulting in a talking severed head, like herself. He then asked if the one who attacked him was also an Oni, to which Aya confirmed as the most plausible explanation. However, their faces were concealed, and all she had seen was their boss, an elderly man with a cane, a hoarse voice, and foreign origins. This revelation triggered a flashback for our hero, leaving her with no other choice but to engage with him, as his Oni side was more dominant. As they continued their conversation, the show inside the arena concluded, and the audience began exiting. They decided to change their location. On the way, Aya asked for his name, to which he replied, Sugaru Shinichi. Aya delved deeper, inquiring about his seemingly conflicting desire to both live and die. He struggled to provide a specific answer, given the complexity of the question. Aya elaborated, explaining that the more he used his powers, the more the Oni consumed him, eroding his sanity and shortening his lifespan. Despite this, he continued to perform, indicating his compulsion towards self-destruction. He also mentioned his resistance when fighting Aya's maid, as she had the capacity to kill him. In response, he admitted that he would eventually succumb to the Oni, go berserk, and be shot by the military police, a fate he surprisingly embraced. He elaborated that if he were to be consumed by the Oni for using too much power, it would likely occur during a fierce battle against a formidable monster, surrounded by bloodthirsty, low-life customers. The raconteur and troop leader, who profited from his performances, would be the first to fall victim to his uncontrollable Oni rage. He continued, describing how the impending scene would unfold, highlighting his skills as a performer. He explained that as he realized his impending death, he decided to make the most of it by having fun, believing it would help rid the world of some of its undesirable people. His eyes filled with sorrow as he saw the deceased cat he had encountered earlier. After some more walking, Aya once again implored him to end her life, but he firmly declined. Instead, he suggested that she pursue the individuals responsible for taking her body. She found the idea suspicious and asked what he gained from encouraging her. He explained that it served a dual purpose. The person who took her body appeared to be the same one who had taken his humanity. He proposed that she had the intellect, and he had the physical abilities, to exact revenge. After a brief pause, Aya instructed her maid, Suzuka, to release her. She agreed to embark on the mission. He then inquired about extending his lifespan. Aya replied that he simply needed to consume a part of her. Immortal cells, she explained, were exceptionally resilient, and if he ingested them, it would bolster his human immune system, slowing the process of his transformation into an Oni. However, the challenge was how he would consume these cells, as Aya had no intention of surrendering any body parts. She offered her spare parts, which essentially meant her bodily fluids, specifically, her saliva, as she rarely cried or sweated. And so, beneath the moonlight, they shared their first kiss, sealing a unique and life-altering pact.